On Christmas Eve of 1945, a quiet night in the small town of Fayetteville, West Virginia, George and Jenny Sodder, along with 9 of their 10 children, gathered to celebrate the holiday. Their home was filled with the warmth of family and holiday spirit as they decorated, exchanged gifts and settled in for the night. Around 1 a.m, Jenny Sodder was woken by the sound of the phone ringing. She picked it up, but only a strange, chilling silence was on the other end. Shrugging it off, she returned to bed. Shortly after, a loud thud on the roof startled her again. But when nothing followed, she assumed it was nothing more than something rolling off the house. Just an hour later, flames began to engulf the house. George and Jenny scrambled to gather their children, but the fire was spreading quickly, consuming the house with frightening speed. As they counted heads in the chaos, only 5 children, Marion, John, George Jr., Sylvia and Maurice, were accounted for outside. The other 5, they feared, were still inside. Desperate, George tried to re-enter the house, but the flames had already overtaken it. He tried everything, breaking a window, even attempting to use his truck to reach an upstairs window, but the truck wouldn't start, even though it had worked fine earlier in the day. As the family helplessly watched the fire ravage their home, the 5 remaining children were thought to have perished in the blaze. But the story was far from over. As the ashes settled, investigators searched the ruins of the Sodder house, but made a disturbing discovery. They found no remains of the 5 missing children. There were no bones, no traces, nothing to indicate the children had been caught in the fire. Experts agreed that even in an intense blaze, human remains should have been found, which raised unsettling questions. In the days and years that followed, strange clues emerged. A woman reported seeing the children peering out of a passing car on the night of the fire. Another claimed to have served them breakfast in a diner some 50 miles away the next morning. George and Jenny were convinced their children had been taken. Their suspicions only grew with the arrival of a photo in the mail nearly 20 years later. It was an image of a young man who bore a striking resemblance to their missing son, Louis. On the back of the photo were cryptic words: "Louis Sodder, I love brother Frankie. Illeal boys." George and Jenny spent their lives seeking answers. They even put up a billboard along the highway featuring photos of their 5 lost children and a plea for information. But as time went on, the mystery only deepened. Were the Sodder children kidnapped that fateful night? And if so, why? And by whom? The Sodder children's disappearance has remained unsolved for nearly 80 years. Some say it's a story of family tragedy, while others believe it's a tale of abduction and a dark conspiracy. To this day, the mystery of what happened to the Sodder children lingers like a shadow over Christmas Eve, haunting those who wonder what really happened to the Sodder children that night.